Staying in South Asia, this time to Bangladesh, where the politics now centers around the two Begums, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the opposition leader Khalida Zia. Even though the public space for women appears to be shrinking, we'll witness the recent ban of women wearing T-shirts at a residential hostel of a Dhaka University. WION's Bangladesh Bureau Chief Sadamadi reports.
Girls at the Sufia Kamal Residential Hall of Dhaka University came across a notice on August 24 stating that T-shirts were vulgar and therefore could not be worn anywhere inside the hall. Curiously, the notice was not printed on the Sufia Kamal letterhead, nor did it carry the signature of the provost, Sabita Rizwan, although it claimed to be issued by the hall authority. The notice drew immediate criticism from the residents, who found it surprising that the hall authorities should try and regulate what they wore, even in their private space. The notice was withdrawn by the provost, who said she had no idea who put up that notice. She issued a fresh notice directing residents to be properly dressed. The hall authorities have set up a three-member panel to probe the matter. But there's a larger issue here. Many women say even in the streets of Dhaka they are accustomed to hearing remarks from members of the public telling them to cover their heads or their arms.
We should not judge people by their outside looks or skin tones. You know, there are so many issues on racial things, and we are chubby. We are actually chubby, so it's a really big issue for us dressing up in Western clothes. So people are looking at us like we are wearing nothing if we wear Western clothes. And if we are covering up, then they are also complaining like you are not covering properly. So
formal specs. Women are supposed to wear saris. Why? Because they look decent in them. What's wrong with formal shirt and pant?
4 years ago, a private university in Dhaka warned girl students against coming to class wearing the niqab or any garment that covered the face. Even then, students reacted sharply, saying it was a personal choice and the university should not make rules that encroach on private spaces.
The Dhaka University withdrew the notice, but it underscored a growing view that Bangladesh is becoming more rigid, more conservative. Centuries-old Bengali culture, traditions and more that value diversity and freedom are coming under pressure from a version of Islam that seeks uniformity in thinking and living. In Dhaka, Sadamadi, WION.
All right, let's go to Sadamadi joining us live now from Dhaka on this story. Saad, good evening to you. Certainly something that's turning a lot of heads there. When you were there on the campus, what was the reaction like? How surprised were some of these students?
I think that's essentially a mixed reaction. A lot of them are typically Bangladesh maintains a very conservative outset in this present generation, so to speak. And now that has created a sort of division. A lot of the young women, for instance, are more modernized, are exposed to the Western culture, and they wish to dress the way they like, and it's their personal and private space, of course. But there is a section in the society that are growing more conservative. It could be the influence of their families. It could be the external environment, the society, the peer pressure that's prompting them to be more covering, and which is not a problem, which is completely fine in their personal space if they wish to dress that way. But when an institutional body, for instance, the hall authorities of Dhaka University and even a private university had previously imposed, that becomes an infringement or an encroachment to their private space. They should not be directed as to how they should wear or cover themselves, because that's very natural that women would be protective about themselves and they would want to have as much of freedom as the men in the society. So this kind of exposure from the public space where they're being directed and they're given remarks about how they should wear and what they should wear, that's clearly quite a breach to the private space. That's what they say.
Sal, let me also ask you, when it comes to this, that letter that came in when the students found that out, has the university responded? Is this something new? Has this always existed? Did they clarify anything specifically about the dress code?
The university authorities have said that this was clearly not the notice that they issued themselves. It was possibly from some students. So they're still trying to investigate. They've created a three-member body to look into who put up that notice, because even though it mentioned that it's the whole authorities who have said that students, particularly women, should not wear or put on clothes that are vulgar, by which they exemplified T-shirts on top of salwar, which is clearly a private space and not quite debated as a vulgar outfit. But then that's what the whole authority said, that it's not a notice that they issued. Rather, it's they're looking into who put up that notice, and if it is some other section who have brought it up to kind of create a mess in the situation in the university or the hall.